They want you to review Anne of Green Gables?
Did any of you look at Star Odyssey and think, did something come before this? There's supposed to be footage of the movie playing over this. God damn it. You know what's coming. Hello and welcome to the Literary Lair, and to the final week of this year's Classic Novel Month. No, you've listened to me. I'm not reviewing it. What do you mean that I'm required by Internet Reviewer law to review something that I joke is the most requested book within 6 months? Where in the hell does it say that? Fine. Anne of Green Gables. What can I say about this book? I hate it. Simple as that. And it's not because it's badly written or the characters are bad. I just don't like it. And it's not even because it's a girl book. Because you can argue that The Fault in Our Stars is a girl book too, and I love that book. And I read this book in my freshman year of high school, and it's very possible that the past 4 years have clouded my judgment over this book. So let's get to the book. The cover is not bad. It's a view of the Cuthbert residence with Anne standing front and center. The Cuthberts are standing in the back posing for American Gothic. Other than that, it's just a house. Let's get to the story before I change my mind. The story opens up with Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert, who are unmarried siblings and live on their ancestral farm, Green Gables, in the quiet town of Avonlea in Prince Edward Island, Canada. Hey, Wolverine, can you show up and make this book tolerable?
Go fuck yourself.
Okay. Matthew is 60, and since he's getting too old to handle the farm work on his own, they decide to adopt an orphan boy to help out, and to become his ward so they can be Canada's answer to Batman and Robin. Mooseman and Beaver. This decision shocks the town gossip Miss Rachel Lynde, who does not think Matthew and Marilla are fit to raise a child, because this is what people did before the internet, judged people that lived next door to them. Matthew, who is terrified of women, arrives at the station and finds a girl orphan instead of a boy. The orphanage sent the 11-year-old Anne Shirley by mistake. Hey, it's not the worst thing that could happen. They could have sent a mouse. Anne's talkativeness and spirit charm Matthew, who shyly tells Marilla that he wants to keep her. Marilla hesitates at first, but after a trial period, she agrees to let Anne stay on. Anne is a talkative and happy girl, despite living an impoverished life as an orphan, like Little Orphan Annie. Though she lacks social graces and education, she has a rich and sophisticated fantasy life and an optimistic and generous spirit. So, she's not such a bad kid. You might find her talking annoying, but she has a good heart. Because Anne acts according to her instincts and not according to a code of manners, she unintentionally defies expectations of proper ladylike behavior. She attends church for the first time wearing a wreath of wildflowers, for example. Looks like Anne was on the flower crown bandwagon before Tumblr was. And screams at Mrs. Rachel for making fun of her red hair. Which Mrs. Rachel deserved for making fun of an 11-year-old girl. You have to be one crotchety old bitch to do that. Anne tries hard to please Marilla and follow her rules of social conduct, but she makes a few mistakes, such as using liniment instead of vanilla in cake, letting a mouse drown in the plum pudding sauce, and delivering a heartfelt but ridiculous prayer on her first attempt to pray before bed, which are all mistakes that kids make. When I was 11, I did dumber stuff than that. Anne never had real friends before living at Green Gables, so she was forced to invent imaginary playmates. In Avonlea, she meets Diana Barry, a neighbor who quickly becomes her best friend. One afternoon, Anne invites Diana to tea and accidentally gives her red wine instead of non-alcoholic raspberry cordial. Diana returns home drunk, and Diana's mother, thinking Anne did it on purpose, forbids the girls to speak. Okay, that's pretty funny. I'd forgotten about that part. It's a drunk 11-year-old. That's hilarious. Their friendship is forced to end until Anne saves Diana's sister, who is sick with the croup, which causes Mrs. Barry to forgive her. At school, Diana feuds with a handsome, smart boy named Gilbert Blythe. When they first meet, Gilbert taunts Anne by calling her carrots and pulling her pigtails, like that kid from the Wayside School books. Anne is extremely sensitive about her hair, and Gilbert's teasing infuriates her. She screams at him and smashes a slate over his head, which is this scene.
Hey, carrots. Carrots.
They do look like carrots.
How dare you!
And shorting.
This incident marks the beginning of a rivalry between Anne and Gilbert, the two smartest kids in the class. As Anne grows up, she loses her childhood flair for the melodramatic and romantic and turns her attention to academics, like a lot of us do. A beloved teacher, Miss Stacy, recognizes her intelligence and encourages her to join a special group of students preparing for the entrance exam to Queen's Academy. Her long-standing competition with Gilbert changes to an affectionate rivalry when, after 4 years of mutual silence, they both go to Queen's Academy. Striving to make Matthew and Marilla proud, Anne devotes herself to her studies wholeheartedly and earns the prestigious Avery Scholarship, which grants her enough money to attend a 4-year college the following fall, which I got one of those. Then again, I probably should have applied myself the past 4 years. Thrilled at her future prospects, Anne goes home to Green Gables. Matthew, who has been having heart trouble, dies of a heart attack when he finds out that they lost all their savings when their bank fails, since this is before the FDIC existed. When Anne learns that Marilla is likely to go blind, she decides to stay at Green Gables and teach nearby so that she can care for Marilla, giving up her aspirations for a 4-year degree. Gilbert hears of her decision and gives up his post as a teacher at Avonlea School so Anne can teach there and be closer to Marilla. And that wasn't just a post he gave up. At the school he has to teach at now, it's farther away, so he has to pay for lodging, which takes out of the paycheck. And believe me, teachers don't get a lot of money to begin with. After 5 years of rivalry, Gilbert and Anne forge a close friendship. Though her future path has narrowed considerably, Anne remains eternally optimistic and thinks cheerfully about her future. And her future is chronicled in the following books in the series, which we will never be looking at because I've never read them and I have no intention to do so. And that was Anne of Green Gables. Was it as bad as I remember? No. I admit it, I was wrong about this book, and I'm sorry to everyone. I based my opinion on it from one reading of it, and I was wrong. Sure, it's not the best book, but compared to Before Dishonor, it's definitely not the worst book I've ever read. The characters are human, and you sympathize with them. I genuinely felt bad when Matthew died. I laughed my ass off when Diana got drunk, so why did I hate it for 4 years? I think I know why. When I read the book, I was in that stage in my life when I was all like, I gotta prove that I'm a man. I can't like stuff that has girls in it. And I was a stupid 14-year-old then. Now I'm a stupid 18-year-old with a review show where I have to give books a fair analysis and not just say they're bad based on the first time I read it. Anne of Green Gables, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry to you guys for not giving this book a fair chance for 4 years. All in all, this was a good ending to Classic Novel Month 2. And I look forward to getting to novel some other parts of literature now. See you next time.
Once upon an orphanage, my life was a near tragic state. I longed to find a brighter place, somewhere full of love and grace. I dream of fields with a cool ocean breeze, a home for my own family. When I got my wish, I pinched myself to make sure this home was real. They sent for a boy, but then I was a girl. My dreaming had just let me down again. If I came as a queen with long ebony hair, then maybe they'd feel I was worth it for them. I'm a good worker in spite of my talking. I've longed to belong here for all of my life. Don't send me away without seeing what I see. Everything I touch is full of delights. I'll do my best to not let you down. I can imagine a world full of joy. Just give me your hand and I'll teach you to hope. You'll find that I've something worthwhile. Just let me stay here and I'll love you forever. I promise